Here's a tidbit for you. America has already tried to invade Canada, and it didn't end very well. In 1812, Britain was pretty busy fighting a little guy named Napoleon, so Speaker of the House, Henry Clay, got all the boys riled up about taking Canada while the Brits weren't looking. The idea was to just walk up there and give the British troops a spanking. Americans even expected to be treated as liberators because nobody likes being ruled by the British. However, the American military was not prepared. The war kicked off with about 2,000 American boys marching up from Detroit to take Fort Malden, but they ran into strong British resistance and actually surrendered Detroit like a month later. Overall, the war was a bit of a fumble. The British cut very deep into American territory and set fire to the Capitol, the Treasury, and the White House. As the White House burned, First Lady Dolly Madison stayed behind to save this portrait of George Washington, and is the only reason we have it today. Later during the Battle of Baltimore, the British bombarded Fort McHenry for 25 hours, but the Americans didn't surrender. When the smoke cleared, a huge American flag was still flying. Lawyer and poet Francis Scott Key saw the flag and wrote the poem The Defense of Fort McHenry, which later became the Star-Spangled Banner. America did get the last laugh, though, when future President Andrew Jackson led a ragtag army of militia fighters, pirates, and freed black soldiers to defend New Orleans. The British outnumbered them and had way more experience, but Jackson's crew ended up dogging on them, with about 2,000 British casualties compared to 70 Americans, and we kept New Orleans. At the time of the battle, the war was technically over because a treaty had been signed in Ghent about 2 weeks earlier, but it took a while to get the mail, so what are you gonna do? Anyway,